one thing and maybe this is just me. When I think it was halfway into the film when Mel Gibson's character is hanging upside down and surrounded by the kids,
Right.
and that scene to me and their wardrobe, I'm like, where have I seen this before? Like it just rang some sort of a bell. And then it hit me. Now I don't know if this was intentional or not, or it was just me looking into it too much. In Steven Spielberg's Hook, The Lost Boys.
Oh yeah.
Um, I'm like that. It just felt like that in terms of their wardrobe, in terms of
But
the way
isn't
the
that
kids.
after?
Yeah, Hook came afterwards.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I think a lot of people, a lot of filmmakers, Mad Max set the standard for certain like
yeah,
grunginess and the vehicles. You know, this out of world utopia, not utopian, dystopian landscaping with vehicles that don't look like they should be able to run. You know, rusty old bashed up vehicles. That set the stage for a lot of what came. You know,
it did.
it's a bit like with the opening title credits of Seven, how after that
Yes.
people started like I think Down Came a Spider or whatever it was called, copied it, you know, very much afterwards. That raw, raw kind of style of
Yeah.
just
Eh,
weird raw stuff, you know, very raw camera angles and
no,
quick
for sure.
cuts.
And credit to George, but obviously to you as well. Again, we talked about this during Shawshank and Green Mile podcast. Is that it was just the way George films. It's the old school, obviously, like because he likes to, he likes to build his set so he can move the camera around in whatever way he wants, so the audience feels and knows where they are, so they can be there, and it just makes things so much easier, maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, for the editor, because you don't need to necessarily cut, like the scene with when he's introduced to Tina Turner's character. There was hardly any cuts, at least, aside from the punching and this pushing down and stuff, and it makes it so intriguing and interesting. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, those kind of films are so much missed, and that's one thing. When I saw Oppenheimer last night, I didn't like. It was just there were ridiculous amount of cuts, like way too many, and it just becomes so distracting. So kudos to you for for
Yeah, I mean,
keeping it that way.
yeah, I'm a great one. I mean, I'll hang on to a shot if I think it's telling the story. I'll go, what? Why do I cut? Why do I need to cut? You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I was always told as a young editor or young assistant that the lessons you learn and the things that stick in your mind is make sure there's the cut is always a motivated one. There's a reason for it. Don't just. I mean, I know what you mean, and maybe that's the reason I don't want to go and see Oppenheimer. I didn't know that was overcut, but that
I felt it. I could be wrong. I mean, that's what
there
I
was a
felt.
there was a great little thing I saw on YouTube a while ago. This I don't even know what his name is now, but there's a guy who analyzes edits,
Right, you
and he
mentioned that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he analyzed the one from Bohemian
But
Rhapsody, and it was just a simple dialogue scene, but it was so overcut. And
I
this
s-
guy went
I saw
through.
that.
Wasn't that amazing? I mean, it was so well explained to a non-editorial person to understand what we do, because it's the hardest job I ever have is explaining to people what I do for a living or what I did for a living,
Yeah.
what an editor does, because people,
Don't get it.
we as a group in America, especially the American cinema editors, are always trying to educate the public by whatever means we can. I mean, the reason I do these things is hopefully that I'm somehow going to educate people who don't know what this craft is all about,
Yeah.
uh, giving my perspective on it anyway. But it's like trying to describe oxygen. You know, it's like it's there. You know, I don't know why it's there, but we need it. Um, it's the only. I don't know if you told me this, but it's the only art form that is unique to film.
Hmm.
Everything else, camera and lighting and all that stuff you could relate to the stage, costume,
Yeah.
makeup, special effects, everything. All stage plays have had special effects in them, even if it's just a puff of smoke or something, but they've had it there forever. Music has been in stage plays. So really, editing is the only craft unique to movie making. And maybe for that reason, it's still a bit of a mystery to the general public.